Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to round out the day today on an issue that I'm particularly passionate about. We've heard in the media previously over a number of months and sometimes years of some particular horror stories when it comes to franchising. And the government has moved quickly, of course, to assist franchisees where there is an imbalance and in an out-of-level playing field when it comes to these kind of franchising arrangements. But I want to talk specifically about an industry that employs close to 600,000 Australians with revenue in excess of $182 billion. So it's significant for our economy and they make a significant contribution. Often these businesses are family businesses, they're mum and dad operators, and often they've been in this particular business amongst the family for years. The businesses I'm talking about are car dealerships, local car dealerships. Now, I understand, Mr Deputy Speaker, that perhaps car salesmen are not the most popular people. In fact, sometimes they're about as popular as politicians. But like us, they can certainly be misunderstood sometimes. And as I said, these car salesmen or these local dealerships are normally franchisees. They're normally mums and dads, and they've been operating in these arrangements for many, many years. In my own electorate of Ryan, we have 16 different dealerships providing almost 300 local jobs or $25 million in wages. They contribute $10 million in tax from the Ryan electorate alone and a total economic contribution of over $61 million a year. These dealerships are often iconic. Local residents know them by name. Generations of families have bought cars from them. They sponsor the local team, they sponsor the local school fete, they give back to their community. Now, global car companies rely on these local dealers to distribute their product and for the ongoing services and maintenance and recalls and so on and so on. For the privilege of representing that manufacturer, the local dealer must invest significant capital in facilities, stock, equipment and training, and this relationship, in order to work, must be mutually beneficial. Quorum only. Now, I've had many conversations with local car dealers in my electorate, and unfortunately I've become aware that while some dealerships are operating with these global manufacturers in a very positive way, in some instances this relationship is not one where there is a fair and level playing field. In some instances, manufacturers, often powerful multinationals with overseas head offices, are putting these local mum and dad operators to the squeeze. Local dealers are having to put up with unrealistic and non-transparent sales targets. They're asking dealers to invest significantly in facilities, so much so that it becomes near impossible to recover those costs, particularly if the dealer agreement they have is too short to recoup the significant capital investment that they are being asked for. Dealers face being terminated without reason and without minimal notice, and there's even pressure being placed on dealers not to honour Australia consumer law rights, something which of course they push back on. Now, the Morrison government, I'm pleased to say, through the Minister for Industry, Science and Technology, Minister Karen Andrews, alongside the Minister for Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, Senator the Honourable Michaelia Cash, quite a few months ago, announced that we will be seeking to reform the new car retailing sector. On this side of the chamber, we believe that if you have a go, you get a go, and we want to make sure that these businesses do get a fair go. We believe that these business owners, and of course all business owners, know best when it comes to running their businesses. That's why we're listening to these business owners and working with them. And after consulting with industry, we'll be looking at ways to ensure that these arrangements are more transparent, fair and cooperative. We've heard of franchisees who have got themselves in trouble. They've been locked into agreements with the franchisors who are seeking large marketing budgets and costs, who don't have the flexibility that they need in order to run their business appropriately, who are locked into sales targets they can meet in the good times but simply can't meet in the tougher times. Now, the Morrison government has heard concerns and looked at examples like this, other examples elsewhere in the retail sector, and then has heard the specific concerns of those in the new car dealership sector. And we're committed to creating a level playing field. The Morrison government's reforms that we're looking at will provide a more transparent and cooperative end-of-term and capital expenditure arrangements between the two parties. We hope that these changes will strike an appropriate balance between the concerns raised by new car dealers and the flexibility car manufacturers require to manage their dealer networks. In particular, I want to see a focus on addressing any potential power imbalance that leads to dealers carrying costs or targets that may be unreasonable. That leads a potential power imbalances that leads to dealers having to invest significantly in state-of-the-art facilities to showcase new vehicles without the guarantee of a reasonable timeframe to recoup that investment. Whilst there is concern, I want to make it clear that the majority, of course, are doing the right things. But these reforms will ensure that there are consequences for those who are not. They'll put us into a similar situation as other countries overseas, even in the US, the home of the automobile, have legislation in place to make sure that these agreements between car dealers and these large local car dealers and the large multinationals who run these operations are fair and balanced. So let's get on with this. Let's get on with this reform, this important reform that is required to protect some of our most community-conscious local businesses, some of our most iconic local businesses, family businesses that are often the heart and soul of their community. These are the kind of businesses that I am always happy to take up the fight for. I am pleased that the Morrison government is looking at these reforms so that we can provide them with support. And I thank again the ministers who are involved and look forward to working with the industry and those ministers to see it progress forward.